So what happened on today's podcast? Well, I think I officially lost my fucking mind because for the first time ever in 13 years of doing this and my podcast, 280 episodes, I literally just shared the 5 secrets I use every day to generate massive, and I mean 7 figures of revenue every year to skyrocket your business and your customer journey. And every single one of them can be implemented into your business in 5 minutes or less. So here's how you repay me. Because when you get into the episode, I lay them all out. My ask is this: when you're done, share this episode with 10 people. 10 people, that's my ask. Because I just gave you a $5, $10, $25, $35,000 gift. And the more you share, the more people listen, and the more I want to keep giving this away. So I'm going to shut up now, but I mean it. I'm going to find you. I'm going to ask you. And I'm like, did you really share? Because I want you to. So I'm going to cue the intro. Let's get into the episode. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. And here's the deal. This episode is going to blow your mind. It's going to be the shortest, most action-packed, implementable episode I've ever put on this podcast. And it's going to be the most popular podcast that I've ever made. And here's why. You're going to listen to this, and I want you to pick one thing of the list of 5 and implement it immediately. Then I want you to come back and get the next one, and come back and get the next one. And if this podcast doesn't skyrocket your business or make you want to share this fucking show with all of your friends, then you're probably not my person anymore, because I'm pulling out all the stops. So in today's show, I'm going to make this as short as possible, and I'm going to give you 5 ways to skyrocket your customer journey that I've never shared publicly before. These are the things that I do every single day that with ease and routine has me getting DMs. I'd love to pay you 10 grand. I want to in right now. How did you do this? You're greater than ever. I'm going to follow you forever. I'm coming to your event, and all the things in between. And so we're going back to the OG George. I'm bringing all of me back to the show, which means we're going to get all of me. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to take a breath, right? Because we get to be here, we get to be present, we get to be grounded. And anything I say in this show, if you're not listening and you're not here, isn't going to work in the first place. And you know what? I'm Mr. Woo. I'm really woo-woo. I believe in our body. I believe in breath. I believe in consciousness. I believe in connection. I believe in energy. And I get to bring all of that to the show. So here's what I want you to do. As long as you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to take a breath. 4 seconds in through your nose, 4 seconds out through your nose. And I want you to take 2 of those. And if you're driving, do it with your eyes open, because that's where the magic happens. Ready? And begin. And we are back. And we're ready to go. That is the number 1 hack for getting present and getting into your body, to get into your power, to put into your business, to create the results you want. So here's the deal. Here are 5 immediate ways to skyrocket your customer journey, which will skyrocket your business. And here's my ask. I'm going to say this early in the episode. This show, the more it's shared, the more people listen, the more I want to give away for free. And I guarantee you that if you take even 2 of these and you implement them consistently into your business, you will end up in our mastermind at our event or hiring me to help you skyrocket your business and scale. But there's one important part. You have to implement it, because if this becomes shelf help in your brain, it does nothing. If this gets listened to and doesn't get implemented, it does nothing. And success rewards action. And that's what this game is about. So let me start with a quote from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn says, one of the greatest gifts you can give anyone is the gift of attention. And now, more than ever, attention is the number 1 commodity that we are monetizing. It's not money, it's not followers, it's attention. And whoever commands the attention commands the results. And it comes down to depth. People are more discerning than ever. They're not following 18 million people. They're being really, really selective about who they follow. And the moment you own the relationship now, they stick around forever. So I'm going to give you 5, and I mean 5 actual ways to skyrocket your customer journey. And I'm going to start now because I want this episode to be short and to the point. So number 1, Number one, this single-handedly is one of the biggest needle movers in my business, and it's how I handle Facebook friend requests. And so I have a rule. I get added 30 to 35 times a day on Facebook. I don't send many out, but this applies either way, if you're sending a message out or if you're responding to a friend request. So when I get a friend request, I immediately approve it, and then I send them a video message thanking them for following me, asking them about their business, who they are, and I include a message trying to find out more information. And I use this as one of two ways. If they respond, I build and engage a relationship that helps me understand who they are and support them. And if they don't respond, then I remove them from my friend requests. And so in the world where people are sending cold DMs and sending out Facebook messages left and right that have no depth and value, the moment you jump in with a 15-second video in your phone, open it up. Hey, Julie, thank you so much for the follow. Hey, Patrick, I appreciate you jumping in. I appreciate the attention. I can't wait to get to know you. Tell me a little about your business or why you follow me, right? That's part one. I do this every single day. It is a part of my process. It's a part of my structure. It takes me about 10 minutes a day to send about 30 of these to every friend request that I get. And the entire point is to command attention and depth. When everybody else is zigging and zagging, if somebody adds you as a friend, they were interested. It's your responsibility to take that depth to the next level. And so now I want you to think about, in the next coming days or weeks, if you get a friend request, when you hit approve, I want you to drive the relationship. I want you to own the relationship, and I don't want you to sell anything. I want you to build a relationship. So if somebody adds you as a friend, I want you to take 1 minute and go check out their profile. Find something in their photos that you like or something that they posted and be like, oh my God, Jen, your dog is adorable. And I'm so stoked that you added me as a friend. I love connecting real life with people, and I don't believe in hoarding relationships. And so I just want to get to know you to see how I can best support you, or you can support me, or how we can work together in the world since you added me as a friend. And I want you to send that message. And then I want you to build a relationship with what comes back. And then if you are adding people on Facebook, I want you to do a favor. And you have one of two ways to do this. When you add a friend, you can send a message immediately about them and connecting with them. Or you can wait till Facebook notifies you that they approved your friend request. That way your message goes to their inbox and not the other request folder. And when that happens, I want you to send them a video thanking them and telling them why you added them as a friend. Not with an agenda, not with some bullshit, but actually why you added them as a friend, to give yourself the opportunity to build a deep, connected relationship so that you can capitalize attention and you're not competing on width, you're competing on depth. So that is number one. So if you have Facebook friend requests and you do it either way, I invite you to do that. Now, at the very end of this episode, I'm going to give you how to implement this down the road when they respond to what you have to offer. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, Instagram and Instagram followers. The same principle applies. So every day I get somewhere between 500 and 300 followers, depending on what the day is like. And so what I do is every time I get a follower, I take one part of the day, I open my phone and I open Instagram. And for every person who follows me, I click on their profile, I send them a video message, and I say, hey, thank you for the follow. There's a lot of noise in the world and there's a lot of people that you could pay attention to. And for today, you decided to pay attention to me. And so I want to say thank you. And I wanted to let you know I'm here to support you in any way, shape, or form. And I send that message and I wait to see what comes back. If I decide to follow somebody on Instagram, it's my job to lead the relationship. So if I follow them and it's somebody that I want to learn from or build a relationship with, I don't even care if they respond. But if I follow them, I take 15 seconds, I open my phone, I record a video, and I thank them for the content that they put out. And I tell them why I'm following them and what I'm hoping to gain from the relationship and how I'm hoping to add value to their life. And so that is number two. So number one is Facebook friend requests. Number two is Instagram follows, okay? Number three, if your Instagram, and I do this on Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram and Facebook, this is number three. If your engagement is down, if you want more likes, if you want more comments, if you want more of anything, you have to remember that you have to earn the right to get that engagement. So I'll give you a prime example on how to do this. Let's say you post an Instagram picture and you get 45 likes and you only get 2 comments. Step number one is respond to those 2 comments, okay? And there's one of 2 ways to do this. You respond to those comments and you leave it there, Or you respond to those comments, and once you're done responding, you shoot them a quick DM and you say, hey, I just want to take a minute to say thanks. I appreciate all the times you comment. It makes a massive difference, and I'm here to support you. Okay? That's part one. Once you are done responding to those comments, you don't have to go find people. You have, let's say you had 52 likes and 2 comments. You have 51 other people who raised their hand and said, I like what you put out into the world. But we can't expect that they will engage with us because they owe us anything. So what I do is I click on that like button and I do 2 things. Once, I go see who liked, I go to their profile and I comment on their stuff. And then part 2, I send them a DM thanking for liking my content and asking them how I can improve or what I can make better so that they comment and engage more. And those 2 things alone, whether you do them on Facebook, whether you do them on Instagram, will absolutely skyrocket your engagement and your attention. So whether it's Facebook or Instagram, you have to realize that just because somebody doesn't comment doesn't mean they're not paying attention. They liked your post. They said, I like what you're putting out into the world, and what they're waiting for is to be led into a relationship, to feel safe, to be given the gift of your attention since they already gifted you theirs. And so I do this every single time. Somebody follows me, I covered a minute ago, but when somebody's engaging, I make sure I always respond to every comment, because if you've taken the time to comment, I must take the time to respond, or else I'm going to condition the fact that when you comment, you're not going to get a response. So why would you comment again? Because relationships, they're magical. They're not one-sided. They require 2-way participation. And the second part is you. And so somebody likes your Instagram photo. You respond to the 2 comments you got. And then you have 51 other people who liked your comments or liked your post. And you can click and see who did it. And then you can go actually engage with them. You can go say, hey, I love what you're putting out into the world. Or, oh, this post is so powerful. And you're building a relationship that's creating an invitation for them to build one deeper with you. These are the things that nobody talks about. Everybody talks about getting attention, but you're not really getting attention if all you're getting is drive-by. And when they give you a drive-by, you're not taking that as an invitation to deepen your relationship. So tip number 3, or way number 3, or hack number 3, or secret number 3 is when you're using your social media platforms, you must realize that once you post it, that is the start of the game, and the work comes after that to engage with people, because it's your job to make sure that your content is seen. It's not their job to stalk you and hunt you down and expect and require them to engage with your content. The moment you said, I'm here to help you, it doesn't mean only when you come in. If they pay attention, if they like, if they comment, it's up to you to deepen and build that relationship. So way number 3 is that on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever platform you are on, TikTok, this applies across the board, okay? Number 4, your email list. I get this all the time. It doesn't matter if your email list is 5 people, 10 people, 500 people, 100,000 people, 500,000 people. Those people at one way, in one point of their life, signed up for your list. They bought your program, they opted in for something, they did a giveaway, they subscribed to your podcast, they did something. And typically we like to look at our email list like, oh, well, I'm going to get the 20%, or, well, they're not buying. And I was like, well, we ever thought that they need a relationship as well? And so this goes back to Dean Jackson. And Dean Jackson created what's called the 9-word email. And this is absolutely genius when utilized ethically with morals and values. And that is, I do this all the time. I will take an entire email list and I will send them out an email, and the subject line says, can I help you? Name, right? And so I put first name in there. And so let's say your name is Robin, right? The subject line says, can I help you, Robin? And then in the email, it says something along like, hey, Robin, I actually just wanted to reach out to see if there's anything my team or I could do to help you, whether it's create content or answer a question. I want you to know that this is really me, and you can respond to this email and we will get back to you. And you can utilize that to create a relationship, to create a connection, to create a touch point. But beware, when you do this, and you do this to build relationships ethically, you're going to get flooded and inundated with responses. But these responses are people that are invested in you and ready to build a relationship. They will tell you what their challenges are, what their pain points are, how you can help them. And then it's your job to create a solution or support them in that moment. And so that's how you can do it with your email list. If you have a text message list, you can do it there. If you have a ManyChat list, you can do it there. You can do this anywhere where you have a group of people where you're looking to build a deeper relationship. The one way that this works is that if you're being authentic, it's not get somebody to respond, to raise their hand some bullshit way so that you can pitch them some offer or send them a DM. It's to actually nurture the relationship and play the long game. So that's number 4. Hold on, I'm looking at my list. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's number 4. And then the fifth way is what matters more than anything with this entire list. Our job as leaders, our job as entrepreneurs, our job as business owners, coaches, consultants, e-commerce brands is to always have one next step for somebody when they come into our world. And so for me, it's really, really easy. I'm going to use myself as an example. So if you listen to this podcast, you're already in my world, right? And so if you send me a DM, you're like, hey man, I listened to the podcast. It was great. I don't need to send you the podcast. You always have it, right? But I have in my arsenal 4 or 5 things that I can use to add value to your life. And so on this podcast, if you send me a message like, man, George, I would love that customer journey training, I dare you to send me a DM and say, George, can you give me the customer journey training and watch what happens? I will show you by example. I will respond with a video or a message, and I will give you a link to a free training because that's always one next step. And so I know that no matter what your business or what your brand is, if you're helping customers, you always have to have one next step for them to go. It could be from consuming your content to opting in, from opting in to buying something. And so what I like to do is I like to take my big buckets, right? I work on relationships, I work on mindset, I work on email marketing, and I work on customer journey. And so in my arsenal, I have an asset for each one of those things that can only support people that will help them get a result and move one step closer into becoming my customer. And so if you're like, man, George, I don't even understand what a customer journey is, and I listen to your podcast, and you shoot me a DM that says customer journey, I will respond and I will send you a 1-hour training that teaches you what a customer journey is, why is it important, why does it matter, and how does it work? And I will send it to you and say, hey, I want you to watch this to get your head wrapped around it. And when you're done, if you have any questions or you want to know what to do next, shoot me a DM. I get Facebook friend requests all the time, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast. And so part of my message when they respond, I ask them like, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Like, oh, I wish I had this. And I was like, oh my God, I have 3 podcast episodes on that. So here, let me drop them in the chat. I want you to listen to them. And when you're done, if you have any questions, let me know. But your job is to always have a next step. And so in my arsenal, I invest all of my time and energy into creating content that helps people for free because I believe that I shouldn't get a result until you get a result. And so I would much prefer to give you a training or to give you a video or to give you a resource that helps you create a result. So then when you have the result, you come back to me and you're ready to join my mastermind, or you're ready to join my coaching program, or you're ready to hire me one-on-one, or you're ready to listen to my podcast. But I'm allowing relationships to handle themselves and build like an actual relationship over an extended period of time, not the immediate close. And so one way that I do this is on your computer, there's an app called Text Expander. And in that app, you can create keyboard shortcuts. And so what I tend to do is I tend to make a Google document for each one of those buckets. I have a Google document of my top 10 podcasts. I have a Google document of my customer journey training. I have a Google document on my email training. I have a Google document on blank, blank, blank. And in that Google document, it thanks them for coming to check it out. It tells them about the training. It gives them a link to watch it for free, no opt-in, no email required. And then it says, when you're done, just as a reminder, I want to hear how this goes for you. I want to know how I can help and support you. And then they get that thing. And so what I do is in Text Expander or on my phone, I have keyboard shortcuts built into my iPhone. So if I type @POD, it automatically populates a message, says, oh my God, thank you for asking. Here are my top 10 podcast episodes. And when you're done, I'd love for you to shoot me a message and let me know how I can support you. And so if you DM me podcast, which you wouldn't because you're already listening to this, I would just type on my phone, oh my God, thanks for the message. I'm going to send it in a second. I'm so stoked for you to listen to the podcast. Hit enter. And then I type @POD, enter, and it pre-populates the message to my Google document and tells you what the next steps are. But we have to remember that if we're capitalizing attention, if we are giving the gift of attention, then we must have a next step for our customers to implement. And so I have next steps everywhere. I have next step for a piece of content based on your problem. I have next steps on joining a program or watching a video about what I have to offer. and I allow relationships to naturally evolve until they are ready on both sides. And I truly believe in my heart that the only way businesses can win is if we prioritize getting results for our customers, whether they pay us or not. It just so happens that if they get a result first and then they shoot us a message, they're more likely to implement everything else that we teach. They have momentum. They feel like they're winning because they are winning. And then they're more primed to implement whatever else comes down the road. But you will be very, 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 very hard pressed for somebody to cold DM me and ask me how I can support them, and me to ever respond with a sale or a sales call or anything, because how do I know you even like me? How do I know that that's what you need? How do I know that that's what you have? And so I would rather engage with you and ask 1 to 2 questions to figure out what your biggest pain point is or what your biggest need is, and then give you a training for free. Because truth be told, if I give you a free training and it solves your problem, you should have never hired me in the first place. And so instead, you get a result, you pour it into your business, it increases your business, helps have a bigger impact, and then it allows me to help you at a deeper level. And so I'm saying all of this, and I want you to understand how important this is. Everyone's like, George, what are the secrets? George, how do you get paid 6 figures for 2 days? George, how do these people call you? How are you friends with all these people? Why do so many people talk about you? Because I prioritize relationships over everything else. Nothing else fucking matters to me. Nothing. Because at the end of the day, when I die, all I think about is how many people are going to show up to support my family because of the good that I did in the world, not how much money is in my bank account and how many people did I trick into filling it. Because the truth is when you add value and you build relationships, money is never an objection. Yesterday alone, I had 2 people message me separately. Hey man, I've been listening. I've been paying attention. I know you know this, but I'm ready to pay you. Can I just pay you X amount of dollars today and you help? I'm like, yep. And someone else is like, hey, can I wire this in and you help? I'm like, yep. And then literally, because of relationships that I started that took me less than 5 minutes in the kickoff and maybe a minute once a week, have turned into multiple 5 figures without me even knowing. It was just, hey, I want to pay. Hey, I want to come in. Hey, can we talk? Yes, of course. But when we spend, or when people spend their entire time trying to transact and trying to trick and trying to do all of these things, all we're actually doing is creating an anti-marketing machine that's pushing people further and further away from what you want. And that's them getting results and then you making revenue. And so I challenge you. I challenge you to your core. I challenge you like your life depends on it, to take one of these things, one of them, and implement it immediately into your business so that you can deepen relationships, so that you can give somebody the gift of attention, so that you can actually help somebody move forward and create momentum and get them out of the consumption cycle. And I want you to watch what happens. This puts heart into your business. It's put passion back into your life, and you get directly connected to the impact that you're making every single day, which is why I sleep like a fucking baby. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And I will tell you right now, these 5 things alone are how I generate multiple 7 figures every single year. This is how I did it with no website, with no email list, with no text message, and just using social media and a Facebook group to build relationships with people. There's a reason that I have people that have been with me since 2011 as a food blogger that still live with me, that still are in our groups, that still listen to the podcast and still buy our courses, come to our events. And most importantly, if they don't, they tell everybody else about our podcast, our show, our content, because we actually care. And whether you understand this or not, people can smell bullshit from a mile away. Tricks don't work, strategies don't work, tactics don't work if they're missing heart. And putting heart back into your business and using these ways to skyrocket your business will deepen your relationships with your customers and deepen your relationship with yourself to make a massive difference. And so I challenge you, because if you listen to this and you go away and don't implement any of it, I don't know why you listen to this podcast, because you can take me and 100 of my successful friends, and every single one of us will give you an answer about what got us here. And if you listen to the core, if you listen to the principles, it's because we gave a fuck more than anybody else, because we cared about the person and not the product. We cared about the result and not the revenue. And we prioritized that first. And that's how this game is won. You cannot transact yourself into a transformational business or a result. And so that's what I got today. Those are 5, and I mean 5 immediate ways to skyrocket your customer journey. I've done this with people, and in 2 days, they've added 10 grand to their business, 50 grand to their business. And there's one company in particular I did this with. One company. This company was doing $20,000 a day. That is an amazing number. That is a lot of revenue. A lot of revenue. We spent 3 days doing this and changing the structure of the team and the social team to connect with people. And in 3 days, 3 fucking days, their revenue hit $45,000 a day, and it never dipped back below it. It just kept climbing. And people like, George, how do I double my business? And I was like, well, I'll tell you, but you have to be willing to do it, because I will say this. You can plant all the seeds in the ground that you want, but if you don't tend to them and water them, they'll never grow. You can hoard as many potential connections as you want, but if you don't nurture them, they will never grow. You can get married, and I want you to guess how it would work if you never put the effort in to caring about your partner. It never would, and your customers are no different. You are just building multiple monogamous relationships that are based on depth, trust, and safety, so that people feel safe enough to trust you, to pay you, to put a result in their business so that you can have an impact. And that's why this shit matters. So I've never shared it publicly, but since we just passed 140,000 downloads the other day, I was stoked. I wanted to share, and this is what I have on my heart today. And so my ask of you is to make this the most popular episode we've ever done. Because if you love this, if this works for you and you want more of these quote unquote secrets, I will keep opening Pandora's box, because this is about level 1 of 1,000. Level 1 of 1,000. These are things that take 2 to 3 minutes a day. And I have hundreds more. But until you change your behavior, until you change your beliefs, until you take this and lean into what you already have, none of the other stuff will work. But if you utilize 1 of these or 3 of these, or you take these and you add a flavor into the rest of your business, then you have set the foundation, you have set yourself in motion, and anything else I have to share with you will absolutely skyrocket what you're already doing. And so that's what I got for you today. So I'm going to end with Jim Rohn's quote one more time, because it is the best way to describe how business can win. One of the greatest gifts you can give anyone is the gift of attention. And that is my invitation for you. So I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a DM if you like this episode. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions. You know my Instagram is It's George Bryant. And if you want to see an example of how I do this, shoot me a message. Shoot me a message on Instagram that just says customer journey, and I will show you exactly what it looks like. You can take it, you can model it, you can put your own content into it. And here's the thing. I don't even want your fucking email. I'm not going to ask for it. But you should be following me on Instagram if I'm going to send it to you. But that's what I got for you today. So I got to go pack, get on a plane, got to go give a keynote. But I love you all. That's a wrap for today's episode. So it's time to cue the outro. Have a beautiful day. Remember that relationships will always beat algorithms. And here's the secret to making them work. So I'll see you in the next episode, or you will hear me in your earballs. But either way, I'm out.